One other thing that you mentioned that I wanted to touch base on was you said the applied nitrogen early. So do you see nitrogen as being a competitive exclusion type scenario where if you have, does nitrogen force out some of the other stuff if it's used incorrectly?
Well, when I say, again, I'll refer to luxury feeding. If we have an overabundance there, the plant doesn't call for it, doesn't need it. And when I say nitrogen is a compound, if we get too high nitrate in that young plant, we can't get phosphorus uptake. And you tell me that you saw your phosphorus levels increase. So that's a good sign. But if we've got too high nitrate, we're limiting uptake of some of the other critical elements. That could be phosphorus, that could be zinc, that could be silica, all of these things, boron as well. So I've got guys that say, I'm putting boron out there, but I'm not seeing it in my tissue. And a typical tissue test does not show us if it's ammonia or if it's nitrate. But when I say nitrate is very easy to get into the plant. And so I think sometimes we're at capacity in that plant of what it can be holding. And if it's nitrate that's holding, let's just say we have 100 sites to hold nutrients. And if we have nitrate on 90 of those, then we're out of balance. And so I think that's what's happening to us is we're getting that plant out of balance. So some of the phosphorus, some of the, like I said, zinc, boron, all these other elements, even calcium, can't get into the plant in the stages we need it. So when I say we could be limiting our potential, I think we could be limiting our potential because of this mentality. This is what I've done. This is what I've always done. And I'm afraid. At the eighth leaf of that plant is taking up 23 pounds of nitrogen per acre. So it's not a lot. But yeah, I've got guys that are putting on 120 pounds at planting. And by the time I'm at 8th leaf, I've used 23 of that. Guess I have this question, are we doing the right thing?
Well, I can certainly understand it if a guy doesn't have the capability to get out later to get nitrogen on later. This is the only chance I get. I mean, there's a valid reason for putting it on pre-plant, putting it on and at planting if a guy doesn't have fertigation capabilities, if a guy doesn't have wide drop stuff like that. Is there any way a guy can work around having too much early nitrogen if you don't have the equipment to get out there later?
Well, I think, Mike, that when we go out with our 275 to 350 foliar that we have in our program, I think that's a great asset to a program that you just described to me, because the guy has no other option. So he goes out and front loads the crop. What we're doing with that V3 is we're actually stimulating that plant. You can't tell me that you can go out with 4 ounces of carbose, 16 ounces of a micronutrient, which is ours is microboom, and make a tremendous impact on an acre. I mean, really, it just doesn't compute. Because when you look at what's in 16 ounces of microboom as far as the actual nutrient, it's a scratch and sniff. But what we're doing is we're stimulating that plant. That little bit of foliar nutrient stimulates that plant to send out the root exudates. It's a stimulus program, and it sends out those root exudates, and what does it do? It stimulates the biology. That's all we're doing. We're stimulating that biology to say, hey, this is what I need, because it's like vamping that plant up. It's like, hey, I'm bulletproof, so to speak. It sends out those strong exudates. The biology recognizes those exudates, so that's where they go into feeding frenzy. And I think that's where we get a lot of the boost from our foliar at 275 to 350 GBUs, is that stimulus. It's not the amount of nutrients we're putting out there. I think that's where it's key. And so that's why we run with that.
So biology is really the interface between the plant and the soil, no matter what. We can apply all the nutrients we want to the plant, but the plant can't digest any of the nutrients we get. It's got to interface, interact, be processed by the biology. So really, the biology is the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and we're throwing bananas at it by throwing the micronutrients out there in the plant, just trying to get them all worked up.
Because our findings, Mike, are telling us, and I said this earlier, I try to say this in almost every program, is the yield that you're getting on your farm is your soil's biological capacity to release nutrients, available nutrients to that crop. Everyone has tried to put additional fertility out there, thinking that that is their goal. High yielding environment, everyone say, well, how much nitrogen did they put on that? That's their first question for me. How much N did they put on that high yielding corn crop? That's not the stimulus to get high production. If you want a lot of vegetation, maybe, but that's not the key. If that was the key, we would all be making 500-600 bushels. You've done that on your farm. Every farm I go to, I've asked that question, have you put on additional nutrients before? Yes. Have you saw any yield benefit from it? Marginal.
That's hit and miss.
Yeah, because really, it's what we walk on every day. It's what we drive our equipment over. That's our most critical part of our farm, is what's underneath that soil surface.